Hey everybody! Today we're here to talk about deep cuts. If you were here for the live show, you've seen it all, but I wanted to be able to do a quick recap for anybody who wants to just watch a 10-minute, and then down below there'll be a link where you can go watch the full stream. Deep Cuts is an add-on to Blades in the Dark, and if you don't know, Blades in the Dark is one of my favorite systems, so much so that I think I have 3 copies of the book for cons, and then I have 1 copy next to me, and you can see all the bookmarks in it. I've ran this game so many times. And Deep Cuts is the thing that I feel like I was waiting for, and it's been a while. John has watched a lot of actual plays. He has got a TV series in the works, or so we're hoping right now. And then he's also obviously ran a bunch of his own. So today, the Deep Cuts are all the things from his home games, the things that he's ran, and honestly, I think what he's learned from watching streams. So let's dive over to the table. Let's do a quick dive through of the actual layout. And we're going to also peruse through the 118 pages of Blades in the Dark, Deep Cuts. I'm pretty excited. This is really good. So as we go through the Deep Cuts piece, there is something I wanted to showcase. I did make a section in my Canva to write down notes for this that after I finish reading this and fill it out, I will put it in the comment section, or not comment, I apologize, in the community section on YouTube. This will be a section that you can kind of grab what you should look through, what is important. It's going to look like this so you know what to look for. It's the bright pink and white colors you can find. It's going to be my deep cut recap on what you can get out of it. Now, before we really read into this, let's actually scroll through the PDF. The PDF has a ton in it. The hyperlinks are not in my copy, but after reading through it, I have a feeling that they're going to get added to the book. There's some names in here you'll notice that we're kind of helping out or special thanks to by John. The overview is here, and this is probably the thing I want to bullet point the fastest. There are 13 new innovations, 27 factions, including 15 that are in the original Blades. There's 100 heritages and backgrounds with new ways to use them, basically to change your position or change how much effort is in it, how well you do, if it makes sense. There's a catalyst, which is great. It's a new piece that gets added to the game to allow you to include things maybe from your home game or other games, or maybe a TV show that you've watched, and bring into Blades in the Dark. After that, the second section is a collection of 6 systems, modified advancement, revised harm and trauma, which is a little complex when you first read it, but I think through use it'll be easier, a diceless downtime, and a new action system. Earlier in the show, we did a review, or I should say a look at John talking about the conversation that should happen between players and a GM or storyteller at the table, and I feel like we're seeing a lot of that put into action here. So here's all your sections, part 1, part 2, and what's involved. Classic Blades, which I love. I mean, it is up there thanks to 88 Riddles making the boxes. So innovations. It's a bunch of new gear. Arc Lighter, which has got add-ons like Glimmer. There's a percussion slug gun, which is a shotgun that's sawed off. There's a plasmographic camera that's added. John even gave us some art so we knew what we were looking at for this. And the arc thing is dope. It's 3 versions you can add on. That's basically like a lighter, or it can be a lamp, which is a fun little piece, and it's kind of bulky. It fits the piece. And then the slugger pistol, which is just a sawed off, amazing handgun. There is a new calendar that he talked about with the age or era of Unity coming through. I don't want to spoil that too much, but let's just say the lands to the east on the map are now being taken over and something is happening. You can see that in the new piece that gets added in between Bright Sky, Ember Spring, Crucible, Tribute, Bastion, and Starfall. Feel free to read these on your own. You can find it in the link down below at DriveThruRPG to download this. The Bolton Auto Cycle. I love that he added a motorcycle to the game. There's a lightning thrower. We got a monitor sphere. This is basically a camera that can record things to the ghost sphere, but it even ties into the story some. It fucks with other things that uses the ghost sphere. It's not easy to use. Of course, we got the Hockney 3-wheel steam car. During the show, I didn't realize it was 3-wheel until somebody said that it's a 3-wheel. I love this. I think it's a great addition. It's expensive. It's 20 coin. Super cool. Vehicles are not mass produced. I think that's something awesome that they did this private purchase. New restricted technology. This is your repeating coil guns. There is new airships that are here because of the Imperium, and he even labels that there's 16 of them, giving a number so you can name them and have fun with them. And there's a reason that they're here, and I don't want to ruin it, but the whole idea of this sovereign and divinity being the first two, or sorry, sovereign and dominion being the first two, being super important. But these Imperial airships are something that you'll see. There's even art for them later. He added new factions, and John added color to the book. Whenever you see this orange diamond, players should know, don't read this, you're going to ruin it for yourself. A whole bunch of new faction stuff. One of the airships is a sample. Pretty cool. There's new factions that you can find. They all have the clock, the faction clock, and some of them have situations that they're in that are important. Like I said, this is the original map. All the new stuff for Unity is happening along the east side. And then you'll notice that, there's the barrier, and the only one that was originally left was this old rich colony that got taken over. So a whole bunch of stuff happening with that. Read about it. It's cool. It's a nice addition. But I will say the deep cuts don't have to be used in totality. You can just kind of pick and choose what you want. If you don't want to do the Age of Unity, but you like the new rules, it's your fucking table, everybody. It's your table. So we're going to continue scrolling through all these. I don't really want people to see too much of the factions. So I'm going to fast scroll through this. I will say, in this one, there's a group of Spark Runners. You can join them. If you have a +2 faction bonus, it takes 2 squares and you get a Spark Runner rig. You can run on the air using like Ghost Area and Ectoplasm. Really fun set piece or item for the game. Something to think about when you're running yours. So let me scroll back through all these and let's get into the next part. Halls have gotten an upgrade. There's some new stuff for them. Same for the ghosts. Same for the vampires. Cool to see some actual artwork for the halls. I don't think I've ever seen one before. I got like a 1920s, late 1800s style for it. It's pretty awesome. And what else do we have? Let me scroll through here. Oh. Bleak knots? I mean, void divers? John and I have apparently been thinking about the same things in our games, and diving down into his void, or in mine, the Dark Tides, is something that he thinks is pretty sweet. I can't argue with him. New map for Duskfall with new markers for everything that's going on with the Underworld Turfs. So right now we're at 35 of 118. Heritages. Without going through every single one of these, what I want to tell you is there are a ton of them. There are 100 of them. There are a ton of pieces that get added based on Deathlander, Exile, Nomad, Outlaw, Refugee, and Stranger for any region. And then you'll see he's broke them down by individual groups as well. Also some new Aruvian, I believe, art. But every one of the normal heritages have gotten a little bit more. Little art here for God knows what the fuck is going on. Severos, Tycheros, so on. And then you get into backgrounds. And this is the one I want to talk about the most. The cover background. We are playing a game where you are scoundrels and horrible people or criminals just trying to survive. And he's added the idea of being undercover. It is an 8-part clock that you have. And when that 8-part clock fills, your cover's blown. But you can use this to do things like push heat to your cover identity. But if someone is suspicious of your double life, you also have to fill a clock part. Really fun way to add a innovative background to your group. Like if they're all blue coats, but they're really working for the resistance, this would be really fun to do. If you're looking for more than just backgrounds in this, let's keep going, because man, he has given you a ton underneath each background. All of them. That guy's dead, by the way. And then this is the new thing he's added, which is the Catalyst, the other living world. In short, let me just explain this in a way that I think makes the most sense, so I don't have to read this whole thing to you. So basically, the living world is where the ghost area, the Veils, were like the academies and things like that, where they're all being studied. It's kind of fractured, and things have been coming through them. this idea of strangers coming through or people vanishing into them, called the Vanished. And he talks about how there are major characters that have been spawned out of this, what factions are doing with it. But the most important, he talks about the nature of the other world. Basically, the piece through the ghost sphere, the ghost veil, this tear, this fracture. He talks about it being whatever the fuck you want it to be for your canon. 1890s to 1920s Earth, creepy mirror universes, demonic world, time travelers, you name it. Look, this is a chance for you to bring maybe a game you already play and bring it over, or maybe you have a favorite character, or maybe, just maybe, someone is joining your game for the first time and they want to bring somebody over to play. This allows them to do that. Such a cool concept. He talks about how the language should be whatever your home table language is and just carry it over as Akarosian. Lots of opportunities. And then we get into some new stuff for the crews. Each one gets a new score that they can do. And they also get the fallout and NPC threats to those crews. If you don't know, crews are like the group thing that you're doing. Have it be your bravos kicking doors down or assassins murdering people, right? He's done one for each one. Even the cult, by the way, which the cult is still my favorite, and I've never had a group play a cult yet. Like the full cult version. So if we flip through all these, you can see all the other ones he's added, and then we get into part 2. I think this is the real meat and potatoes of John realizing that his system was ready for a polish. Harm gets a new version. Instead of it being just really hard hitting, it's flexible and impactful, and a new way to earn XP, similar to Desperate. Invoking Harm, which is obviously every storyteller's favorite thing to do, right? We invoke, no, I'm kidding. That's not true. Invoking Harm is definitely something that is part of storytelling. And I think that the idea of having a little more player agency with it is great, which they've talked about how to do it, spending stress and taking instead of taking harm. What you'll notice in each one of these is that there is a system change. And he's added new things to crews. If you go to trauma and we scroll to the bottom of trauma, there is a system change for that kind of stuff. Recovery, retirement, load is probably the biggest change that he has, with the idea of being conspicuous or discreet based on 6 or 4 boxes. In short, conspicuous, you have to mark your heavy items. Discreet, you can't bring heavy items, but you still get to fill the other boxes out as you play. And then he's done some system changes like crew rigging, carry 2 free load a particular class item, including a heavy item with your load. I think that's pretty dope. Advancement, new rules for that. And they've really went through and broke down how to use clocks to advance your different abilities, your prowess, your finesse, your prowling, your everything. It's pretty awesome. So if you can see here, he's really went through and added all the things that he feels was needed for the game. I think that's awesome. I really, really think that he needed to do this to make people understand that you can add rules to the game to have fun. And he's done new entanglements and so on as you go through. And again, at the end of all these, you're going to find new ways to add rules to your game or changes to the core rules. They talk about the different phases, how Vice works, how everything gets a little bit of a change up. And I want to scroll down to what I think is maybe some of the best things here. He did heat changes, crew changes, but overall, and he's put a video out on this, how you handle actions in Blades in the Dark versus other TTRPGs. Read through this, go watch the video. I'll link it down below as well. It's like an 8-minute video where he breaks down the mindset you should have and the conversation at the table about, instead of it being every skill a role, it should be every scene or thing that you're building is a role. It's pretty cool, and not asking for a role, having been built in and your players understanding the chance of failure and what it is. It's pretty awesome. A little color in this book, which we haven't seen much of in his work, but I can see he's doing that to call out important things. There's new rules for pushing. You can see as well, gaining edge is important in this. You can, when you roll 1 or more 6, you gain an edge. It's kind of like a spark or luck that you can use later. We've seen that in Shadowrun, the newest one of Shadowrun. So that's pretty cool. He's added that as well. I want to scroll down a little bit more again. There is something else in here that I think that we should discuss. You don't have to add all of this on, but if there's something that I would add in print, it's got to be the effects and consequence examples. He's made a limited, standard, great, and extreme version, how ticks would work if you're battered, and how they kind of skill up. This should be printed and slammed in the front of your book, and part of your GM prep. You should have this in front of you and ready to go. Look how easy this is. I dry erase this or laminate it so I could circle the things that are happening and mark people's names alongside. That's just my tip from me to you, but I think it'd make a big difference in the game, and it helps you keep terminology, verbiage consistent. Devil's Bargain, new rules. We all know I love the Devil's Bargain. If you want to do X, you can get X, or if you want X to happen to you, you can now get another die. They've added on to this saying you can spend coin, lose an item, lose rep. Devil's Bargain's always good. It's fun. It grows character in a game is kind of how I see it. I bring it into everything I run. Of course, he's done things for teamwork and other pieces that have been added. And there's rules for using cover in the game and coordinating attacks now. And there are overall system changes starting on page 104. I recommend reading through those. A lot of those are polishing the old versions of systems. And then after that, he's got his designer notes. There's threats and stuff, but the designer notes are why he's added this to the game. And I think those are important, along with all the playbook changes he recommends. These are updated, and while it says playbook URL in the sheet here, you can download them. That's not working. There's no link yet, at least not in my copy. Maybe if I go and get the updated one. But if you go to his site, all of the playbooks have been updated. So this is an amazing 118 pages to add to your Blades in the Dark games called Deep Cuts. I highly recommend it. This is such a great addition. On top of this being a great addition to Blades in the Dark, I want to talk about, I'm going to be adding this page up to the community section in YouTube. I'm going to finish it out, things you should highlight and look at, and just kind of like, is this worth your time? And maybe I'll do a second page with a bunch of notes on things that I would add as well. Expect that to go up sometime, maybe this week or next. I'm doing these for almost every show that I do. For the rest of you, if you have not been a part of the shows below, welcome. If you are watching this live, stick around. We'll be on for a few more minutes. If you're watching this after the fact, there's going to be things to click. We're trying to get to 500 so we can do a lot more on this channel. We have videos to watch. The library is over 300 videos of tips and tricks and actual plays. But on top of all those fucking wonderful things, we also have a Discord that you can come and join. I run Living ETHUANTIA. You can bring a character to life, play an ETHUANTIA Dragonbane with us, and have fun. Right now, I'm currently scheduling 3 days a week, and then probably going into New Year, it will go down to 2. Join us over at Discord. The link is down below. If you're in a live chat, you already know it's in the chat for you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Like always, watch, listen, learn. Be a better gamer. Go play some Blades in the Dark, and learn that D&D isn't the only game.